Hello, my name is Kimberly from Essential Soap, and I would like to present to you Kimberly's Celebrate Lavender soap making kit from Essential Depot. Now let's look at the contents of our Celebrate Lavender soap making kit from Essential Depot. Of course, we have a beautiful silicone mold. What goes in the crock pot is our beef tallow, our coconut oil, our palm oil, our sweet almond oil, and our stearic acid. The items that will go in after the cook is our essential blend of oils and our shea butter, along with our Celebrate Lavender essential oil blend. Does it smell good? We also have our lye. You will need to add water. Okay, now let's look at the items that we will need to produce your beautiful soap from the Celebrate Lavender soap making kit from Essential Depot. We need a 4-quart crock pot with a warm setting and a standard knob. We don't want to purchase non-stick. Get just a standard crock pot. We need 2 spoons, one for during the cook and one for during the finishing. We also need 2 spatulas for the same purpose. We need a nice molding tool, and I always use a teaspoon, which is similar to a teaspoon, but it's got a longer handle and a smaller spoon. I'll explain it more later. We also need vinegar for safety. I like to keep alcohol about for sanitary purposes. Distilled or filtered water. I like chemically resistant gloves, a nice set of goggles. It's always nice to have a face mask for keeping out the fumes, either a digital or standard thermometer, a nice stick blender, a digital scale. Also, I like to keep paper towels about for keeping things clean. I use a warming pad, and that's really nice, but you can use your defroster setting on your microwave for melting your super fats. Also, we need a small whisk, which you will see there inside the super fat bowl. All right, now let's get started. Okay, we have our chemical resistant gloves and our goggles on. We have the kit lye that's pre-measured. We need 12.2 ounces of water. This is for a standard cook. If you should decide that you'd like to do a goat's milk version, you need 4 ounces of goat's milk and you need 8.2 ounces of water. Okay, so we can see our lye is on the inside of the container and it's going to be fumy, so don't get it right under your face. To check the temperature now, we're 160 plus degrees, so we've got to let that cool until it's 110. You want to put it under your stove hood if it's vented. Set it outside somewhere safe that animals, children, or unsuspecting people wouldn't get into it, and just let it cool for 110 degrees. Okay, if you're going to do goat's milk, you need to have your lye a touch more chilled. We're at 70. That's nice and cold. We need to make sure there's no ice on the bottom. Our goat's milk, 56. Nice and chilled. We want to go with a colder setup whenever we're working with our goat's milk. 110 on our oils. Okay, now we're going to add our lye water to our oils. You can practice with your stick blender. See the little holes? If you let those get out into the open, then you will spurt things, and you don't want to spurt lye water out onto you or your counter surfaces. So always keep the little holes below the level of the oil. Don't tap on the lip, tap on the side. There's always a little bit of lye water that takes its time coming out. I'm using my stick blender on the low speed. You can also stir the top with the motor off for safety. All right, now that we're thoroughly in a creamy texture and we don't have any floating pools of water or oils, we are fully blended. And you can just set that down into your lye container and take it to the sink so nothing will get on your surfaces or your floor. So you want to make sure your crock pot is plugged up. If you're doing the goat's milk, you'll set a timer for exactly 5 minutes. And then put your stick blender back on. And we have our 4 ounces of goat's milk. We're going to add that exactly 5 minutes after the soap has been cooking and you've blended it with the lye water. We need our protective wear. It'll be thicker, so it's good to use your spatula. Clean your sides. Now I'm going to put my stick blender back into my holder pitcher. So now just to explain, if you're making goat's milk, you've reduced your water by 4 ounces. You've put all the lye in part of the water. You've put that water in with your oils. You've waited 5 minutes, and then you've added your 4 ounces of goat's milk. And now we're going down to warm once the goat's milk is in. Okay, our soap has come out of jail. It is fully blended. We have been cooking this, as you know, on warm. Let's check our temperature. 159, 58, 56. Let's give it a little bit of a stir and see if it still agrees. $174. So now we'll let this cool. Stirring it helps to release the heat. If you're in a hurry, you can also remove your crock pot from its base and let it cool a little bit as you stir. $171. All right. Always clean your spoon. And clean your sides. All right, so now we will add our super fats, and they're warm as well, but this can help to bring the temperature down. And as long as you're not over 180, it's okay. Goat's milk sometimes doesn't cure as fast as a standard cook. So I like to add a half a cup of ground oatmeal. We've ground this ourselves, but you can purchase it ground. Oh, that's a nice texture. And that brought it down to 163, 62. So we just have a few moments until it will be at 160. So we'll just let this cool for a few minutes and then we should be fine. If it has a lot of time it has to relieve, if you leave it without the lid on and leave it outside the crock pot, it can cause crispies to form around the edges of your crock pot that will then fall into your crock pot and cause discoloration. So if it's got a lot to go, put it back in your crock pot on warm to slowly cool. The time has come. It only took probably 5 minutes. And now we're at 150 to 149 after some stirring and adding oats. So now it's time to add the Celebrate Lavender Essential Oil Blend. I'd already removed the plastic. Now, one of the things that can happen is that people do not stir the essential oils into the soap enough. And then when the soap is curing, the essential oils will start leaking out of the soap. So it is very important to stir, stir, stir. And if you'll notice, I'm not going around in circles. I'm doing the flip method. You reach into the crevices and pull things out. You're just constantly ensuring that all parts of the soap has received the essential oils evenly and have had time to blend into them. I notice that sometimes I'll have little shiny pockets and then opaque pockets, and I like to stir it until everything is opaque as possible. Okay, that looks good. So now we're going to mold our soap. I'm putting my hand here just to keep the soap from getting in between the cardboard box and the silicone. Okay, that looks good. So now we're going to mold our soap. I'm putting my hand here just to keep the soap from getting in between the cardboard box and the silicone. All right, that's about half the soap or so. And now I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of oats in the middle. If your soap should ever get too cool, turn it back on warm. If it seems like it's too dry, add a couple of tablespoons of boiling water. Soap that has got goat's milk in it is so flexible that you can often just scrape the spoon right into it, where a normal cook, it would be too stiff to be added. Let's give it a bang. We're rotating the oats a little bit so it'll have a really pretty pattern when it's cut with the oats on the middle. Just tuck that down. There was what I call a crispier place, and so I'm pushing it under. All right. Often it'll be higher on this side and lower on this side. When you're twirling it this way, it seems to bring the soap that way. So we give it a little shake. Now we're going to add a little bit of alcohol and sprinkle a little bit of the oats on the top. And if we wet it down with the alcohol, the alcohol will evaporate, but it seems to make it adhere better. And of course, we can clean up our edges a little. If you want to. You can also do that whenever you're taking it out of the mold. If you'll notice, this soap is already safe. It will need to be cut and cured for 5 to 7 days, depending on your temperature where you live, whether it's indoors in an air-conditioned environment or if it is in an area where you're just using fans. Some areas will be just have, different climates can cause the cure to take longer, but you will cut this in 1 to 2 days on goat's milk. If it seems too soft, wait 2 days and then cut it. After that, then you will cure it where it is sitting 1 inch away from each other to a half an inch to 1 inch away from each other in an airy area that doesn't get hot and then damp like a laundry room. We want this to be in a central area where it has good airflow and there's no major humidity or moisture. And then in 5 days, sometimes 7 with goat's milk, it'll be ready to package and go. Right now, you could go ahead and wash your hands with this. It's perfectly safe. The lye has long since dead when it came out of jail. All right. There is our beautiful goat's milk with oats.